Hey guys, so today I'm going to be walking you through how to analyze a lending and borrowing protocol using Moonwell protocol as a case study, which in this case is a compound V2 fork. What this means is you'd be able to use the same approach to analyze any compound V2 fork out there. And a particular example for that would be Venus protocol, given that that's also a compound V2 fork. So basically for this video, I'll be walking you through how to analyze the total supply, total borrows, and the total value locked. Or you could also say total liquidity available for all the markets. Now, for this one will be for the market on the core market on base. Then I'm also going to be walking you through how I got this table that gives you like an overview of the core pools on base. And if time permits, I'll also walk you through this more revenue chart that basically tracks uh, the revenue made from liquidation, which in this case, for Moonwell protocol, 3% goes to the Moonwell reserve and 7% goes to the liquidator. And also, another part will be the interest from borrowers. And I think lastly, I'll walk you through this table on Moonwell liquidation events. For this, you'll be able to calculate things like the debt repaid, the collateral seized, the liquidation bonus, and yeah, so let's get into it. Now, the first thing to do when writing the query to analyze the total supply, the total borrows, and the total value locked would be to create what I call a price dictionary. And this simply means a query or a table that gives you the latest price for each token. Now, just before we get into that, I would love you to understand that the Moonwell market operates with what we call interest bearing tokens, which are called mTokens. Now, mTokens are simply ERC20 compliant tokens that are used to track positions within the Moonwell protocol. And each Moonwell market has a clear relationship between the market contract and the M token. So basically, when a user deposits USDC into the USDC market, the market issues an M token. Now, what we'll be doing for this price dictionary is to map each market contract or each M token contract address to the corresponding underlying assets. So basically, at the end of this query, we should have a table that gives us the timestamp, the contract address of the M token, and also the symbol, the contract address of the underlying assets, and also the symbol, and then the price of the underlying assets, and then the decimal. So this will be essential for building out the main queries that will help us analyze the total supply, the total borrows, and the total value locked. Now, when you come to the Moonway documentation and you come to the contract section, you and scroll down, you see the contract address for all the core markets on base. And we'll be starting with the Moonway market. And as I explained earlier, we'll be mapping each market contract to the contract address of the underlying asset. So I just come back to June and type select mDie as m symbol, then the contract address for the mDie market. Let's name this m token. And I'll get the contract address for the underlying asset, which should be DAI itself. Just type in DAI here on Basecamp. And I can just get this from the URL. Paste this as, let's collapse this for a second. So I just name this m token address. And I'll basically be doing this for all the other markets. So union all, select. Next one will be MUSDC. Well, I think I already have this here, so I'm just going to copy what I have here. And paste. Okay. So I'm a sucker for having my queries aligned. Um, so I'm going to put all of this into a bracket. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to just have an alias of M just to represent market. Now, I'm going to be, since I'm trying to get the latest price for each token, I'm going to be joining this map market to the prices table. And for this, I'll be using the price.r table. I just say which rank. I'm going to create a city here. Rank prices as select. So open this up. Prices.r. Okay, so we'll get the timestamp. Now alias with P for price. We'll get the contract address. For this, I'll just call it token address as token address, then P dot symbol. I'll just call this token symbol. And I'll do the same for the map market. It's going to be M dot M symbol. Now come back to get the price and the decimals. Now, since I'm trying to get the latest price for each token, I'm going to be using the window function. So to be row number over now partition by the contract address and order by timestamp in descending order. I just name this RN. So I'm going to join both tables now. From this table, then join this mapped market on contract address. And I'll filter for the tokens that we have business with, where P dot contract address in. I already have this here, so I'll just so you see I have this memo address here, but and that's because the Moonwell protocol recently launched the memo market, and I had that recently decoded by or requested to be decoded by the Dune team. But there's some tables that are yet to be populated. So when that table is populated, I'll just have that updated easily. So we have this, we filtered for these contract addresses. And now we'll have this final select clause. And like I said earlier, we need a timestamp. We need the symbol of the M token. We need the M token address itself. Then we need the symbol of the underlying assets, as well as the contract address. I think I already call this token symbol here. Yeah, I call this token symbol token address. I think this should be M token actually. So token symbol, token address, then price, then decimals, and from as rank prices. And since I want just one row for each token, I just have where rn equals 1. And I think, let's see. P.934. So I think I didn't have this alias here. Let's run now. Okay. So we're just going to let that run for a second. And basically the aim of this query is to give us a table that we can always, there's something doing called query. So basically we just, instead of having to write this for every single query, when analyzing the total supply and the total borrows, we just basically reference this query instead of writing it all over again. So now we have our price dictionary, and as you can see, it has timestamp, the M symbol, the M token address, that's the contract address for the market, the token symbol for the underlying asset, the token address of the underlying asset, the price, and then the decimal. So now we're going to go ahead and start writing the core query for calculating the total supply and the total borrows for the core base, the core pools on base. So before I start writing the main query or the core query for calculating the total supply and other metrics, I'll just save this. I'll just save this as a Moonwell price dictionary or something. So that I can, when I want to reference, I can just come and use this number here for the query reference. I'm just going to create a new query. And then we'll start analyzing the total supply, total borrows, and the total value locked for all the core markets on base. Okay. So we'll start with a CTE for the prices. The token prices as select. So I just come back to my price dictionary and basically just copy all of this. Sorry, sucker for formatting. From, and this is where we're going to query this existing query. I'll just copy this and paste. Then I'll have this other city to just select some specific um, details I need, which is basically M token, M symbol, token symbol, right? Yes. And decimals from the token prices table. Token prices. And I'll just group by 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the next thing is, remember I said earlier that each market has a direct or a clear relationship between the market contract, which issues the MUSDC or the M tokens, and the underlying assets. So that is essential because each M token has an exchange rate uh, that is used for conversion to the underlying token unit. And if we come here and I just search for Moonwell, so we're going to be leveraging a table called the exchange rate table to help us convert the M token unit to the underlying asset. So let's say we start, like I just want to work with base. I'll just filter for base. And let's say we start with MUSDC native. So I'm just going to name this table. We'll first get the raw form as a raw exchange rate stored. Select. Okay, I'm just going to look for that table and just type exchange. Okay, so this is the table. Now for this table, I'll just need no, not this, a timestamp, which is the core block time. Contract address for the M token, and the exchange rate, which is this output from. So this is for the MUS USDC market, and I'm just going to add this filter where call success equal true. So basically, I'll be doing this for all the other markets, and this is what I mean. I'll basically just union all, and then I'll just copy this, select, and I'll just change the table name. So I'll just come here, go to the arrow market. Is the exchange rate stored? So I'll just change this to this shows for arrow. So I'll do the same thing. Let's copy from here. I think the next one should be this. So yeah, you get the logic. I'm just going to come here and just copy the rest of it. Yeah, we stopped here. Okay. Okay, perfect. So yeah, we don't need Mamo, like I said. Now, this CTE that we have here for the raw exchange rate stored gives us the, as implied, the raw exchange rate. Um, so we have to normalize these values to account for the different decimal places for the M token versus the underlying assets. And we'll be using this standard compound formula for that. So we'll have this other city called exchange rate stored as, and we'll need this. Okay. But for the output now, which is the exchange rate, we're going to normalize the value. So cast output as double. Then we'll divide by 10 raised by 18. 18 being that the raw exchange rate value is in 18 decimal places. Then plus the decimal for each underlying asset, then minus 8. Minus 8 in the sense that the M tokens they come in 8 decimal places. So we'll just name this as the exchange rate. Okay. And we'll use the window function again because we just want one row. Shown by contract address. And order by okay. Now we need the latest exchange rate. For this, I'll just select this. Then this exchange rate here. So this will be from, okay, for this will be from the raw exchange rate stored. Store table. Then this will be from this. I'll just say where Rn is equals to 1. Okay. So now we go on into calculating the total supply, the total borrows, and then the total value locked. So total supply as, so for here we start with, again we're going to do this for all the markets. So we start with the MUSDC native market. And so I'll just type total supply. I'll be using this function. And for this, I'll need call block time, the contract address, the outputs, Then I'll use the window function again. From, and I'll do this for all the markets. Union all. Copy this. So I'll basically just do this for all the markets, and I already have that, and I'll just go and copy it from here. So I'll just copy this from here um, for the other markets, and I don't need the Mamo market, so I just paste here. So yes, we already have the um, total supply for each market, and I would want to return the latest total supply. And to do that, I'll just do this. Select this amount. I think for here, don't need this. Then I need to alias this as amount. And this too. And now for the total supply, the latest total supply is from total supply, and where Rn equals to 1. So now we're going to do the same thing for total borrows. We get total borrows, and then we get the latest total borrows. So total borrows as select. So we already have, okay. It's table here. And for this, we need basically the same thing: the call block time, the call block time, the contract address, and the output, which will be the amount as amount. Then we'll also need the window function. So this for the USDC native market, and I'm going to do the same thing for all the markets. I'm just going to copy from what I have here. So I have the total borrows, and I'm going to get the latest total borrows. from total borrows where Rn is equals to 1. So now that we've calculated the total supply and total borrows, the next thing will be to combine everything and bring it all together. So for that, we'll start by writing the city that says combine matrix as, and we would need dates p dot timestamp. Let's bring this down. Okay, as date. Then there's this nice touch I learned from the Mofo team's dashboard on Dune, which is basically creating like a clickable link for each market that takes you to that market on the website. And this is how we do that here. So we just concat. If you come to the Moonwell market section here, and then you click on, let's say, the USDC market, you see that the URL here ends with USDC. So we can basically replicate this by, and each market ends with its own symbol or its own name. So for that, I'll just copy from here so that we can replicate that and have it for each market. So concat, we'll just have this. I'm basically saying create a clickable link equals and paste the URL. Okay, perfect. Just say lower symbol p dot token. P.M symbol, and I'll just close it. And I'll name it as market. And the next thing will be to start calculating the supply. For the supply amount, we'll get it in the raw form and then the USD conversion. Now for the raw form, we'll be multiplying the supply amount by the exchange rate and then dividing by the decimal 10 raised by 8 in this instance. For the borrows, there's no need to multiply for an exchange rate because there's no interest in this case. So for that, we'll just start by saying qualis TS, which is total supply dot amount 0, and multiply by qualis the exchange rate, which is AR, then we'll divide by 10 raised by 8. So this is the raw supply. We'll name it supply amount raw. Then we'll do for the borrows, TB, that borrows, that amount for this, for not multiplying by exchange rate. So just divide by decimals. Borrow amount row. Then for the total value logged or the total liquidity available to just be the total supply minus the total borrows. For that, I will just come here and copy this for total supply and basically subtract. And this should be total liquidity, or can say available liquidity. Okay. So next will be to convert to USD, and for this you just basically multiply by the price. So for that, I'll just copy this. Control C, Control V. Okay, in USD. And for this, multiply by price as well. Let's change this to borrow. And do the same thing for the available liquidity. Control C. Now the next thing will be to calculate the utilization rate. And for this utilization rate is basically dividing this total supply by the total borrows. So that will give you the utilization rate for that particular market. So for that, we will use the case function just to for safety checks. So say case when amount is zero, basically just say case when the supply is zero, so which is basically all of this. Okay, it equals to zero, or the exchange rate value is null. TS or TS amount is null. Then null. These are basically safety checks. Else, so I want to format the utilization rate to do two decimal places and add a percentage symbol at the end of the figures. So S format. So this will give us in two decimal places and also add the percentage symbol at the end. Dot 2F. Then round. Multiply by exchange rate. Divided by 10 raised by 8. Then multiply by 100. Multiply by 100. Then we add the percentage symbol. Okay, perfect. Then end as utilization rate. Then from token price P, Then we're going to left join. We're using left join to ensure that we return all the tokens irrespective of if a value is missing in the other columns. So left join the latest exchange rates. I'll be joining on the contract address on p.mtoken equal ar dot contract address. Also left join latest total supply GSTS on the same contract address. Just TB and this should be TS, not AR. So be TS total supply and also TB for total borrows. And we'll have our final select, which will be select. We want the dates, markets. We want the raw supply amount raw. We want the USD supply amount USD. Same thing for borrows. Borrow amount raw. Borrow amount USD. Then the available liquidity. The raw and the USD. USD. Then utilization rate. Okay. From the combined matrix. City, then order by dates and also by markets. Now let me just check. It's a very long query. Okay, so we have the token prices, we have the token info, we have the raw exchange rates, then we also have the exchange rates stored. I think this should be inner join. We're joining the token info here. I'm going to join on the contract address. Token info CI. Okay. Then we have the latest exchange rate. We have the total supply. I think amounts. We have the total borrows. Then we have the combined metrics. And then the final select. I'll just order this by descending in my market. Then we run. Okay, line 127. Okay, I think just needs a comma here. Line 358. And we don't have a select clause here. Okay. Line 369. Think another comma here. Line 376. Think should be equalis here. Exchange rates divided by index utilization rate. Okay. Line 378. Token price. I think mine is token prices. Okay, it's token prices. Three to one latest total borrows, not borrow. Perfect. Okay, we are in. Finally. That joy you feel when your query starts to run. Unfathomable. Beautiful. So now we have our table, the dates, the market, hyperlink form. Let's try and click it and see where it takes us. Maybe this takes us to the arrow market. Hopefully it does. Yep. Beautiful. The arrow market. Joy. Then you can start formatting all of this. I love formatting my queries. So for this, I'll just have something like something. Okay. Format this as date. Format as market. And for this, I could just 0.0a. Yep. Same thing for this format. 0a. System is already lagging. Yeah, and so on and so forth. Yep. And there we have it. So just a quick recap of all that we've done. Um, so we started out with our price dictionary and basically hard coded the markets, the market with the underlying assets, joined it to the price table using a window function to give us a timestamp, the symbol, the token address of the market contract, the contract address of the market, token symbol, the address of the underlying asset, the price, and the decimals. And all of this came into play for the core query here, which we use to get the dates, the market, and for the core query, just a quick recap as well. We leveraged the existing query that we had, the price dictionary. Um, then we worked on getting the exchange rate for the supply amount because one, the exchange rate is not static. Two, two being that um, if you actually want to get the total supplied, you'd have to account for the interest as well, the yield in that sense. So we got the raw form of the exchange rate, and then we we converted it using the standard compound formula, which is basically 10 raised by 18. 18 being that the exchange rate comes in 18 decimals. Then we added the decimal for the underlying asset here, and then we subtracted 8. 8 being that the mTokens come in 8 decimals. Then we got the exchange rate. Then we pulled out the latest exchange rate. Then we went on to calculate the total supply for each market and got the latest total supply, got the total borrows for each market, also got the latest total supply, the total borrows, and then we combined everything and we added this nice touch to create like an HTML clickable link that will take us to the market of the website on Moonwell. And yeah, we did the calculation. Calculation here was for the supply, multiply the exchange rate by the supply amount divided by 10 raised by 8 to give us a raw form. For the borrows, we just divided the total borrows by the decimals. Then for the available liquidity, we subtracted the total supply from the total borrows from the total supply. And for the utilization rate, we divided total borrows by um, by total supply and then we multiplied by 100 to give us the utilization rates. And yeah, there we have it. So I hope this was well broken down enough. And I guess I'll see you on the next video. Thank you very much.